Alright, YouTube, sorry about that background noise. I'm right next to air conditioning or some kind of heater. The video down below is from the Red Elephant's Vincent James. He is a superb content creator, very astute political commentator as well. He really has a grasp on the idea of demographics and culture, Western society. I believe I'd be correct in saying that Pat Buchanan is probably one of the people that he looks up to the most, among others, and that is okay with me in my book. But he was basically just talking about, hopefully I'm not putting words in his mouth, but the America that we see today is the America that the baby boomers had envisioned for us. You know, the love child era, the hippie era, all of the degenerates of the 1960s and 70s, and they're not all degenerates, and they're not all drug users, and they're not all, day trippers, so to speak. But he is absolutely correct. The baby boomers as a whole, this is what they envisioned. A lot of them were liberal individuals, people that didn't necessarily care about conservative values, the traditional family, fatherless homes, among other things, just kind of being brainwashed and hypnotized into this liberal, semi-conscious state. And this is the America that the baby boomers have envisioned. And some of them, I don't know if they were completely wholeheartedly agreeing with the America, or rather the America that they had envisioned for the future. I think a lot of them are afraid to be labeled racist or bigots or whatever buzzword they throw out there. And it's really sad. It's really sad because a lot of them, they are absolutely content with how things are right now. A lot of senior citizens, not even senior citizens, but people within their 50s, 60s, and 70s here. Some of the people that you would probably see at the, if you guys saw my earlier video back in November, I went to a Trump protest here in Santa Cruz very briefly, and they had a lot of like 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, probably baby boomers. You could just tell this is the America that they had envisioned for us. They were protesting. Well, first of all, let's go ahead and talk about the protest real quick. They were protesting the firing of Jeff Sessions. I mean, the irony is so rich there, because initially they were complaining about Jeff Sessions being like a far right, cracking down on pot individual, and which is correct. Jeff Sessions, to his fault, is not a very pro-marijuana person. I've got my own opinions about that. Not that I smoke anymore, but I think it was a pretty stupid thing for him to say. It made him very unpopular, and I think that's actually part of the reason why Trump fired him, is because of his rhetoric towards marijuana. Anyways, they're out there protesting Sessions getting fired, and how not William Barr, but the other fella, Matthew Whitaker, was appointed as the interim AG. They were just saying, illegal AG, Stepford wives against firing of Sessions. Like, I'm not even joking. That was one of the signs that they had out there. But those same baby boomers, they look at today's America and they say that, it's just so wonderful that we have all these people of different colors coming into our country that are bringing so much to our culture. And it's not even contributions, in my opinion, to our culture. It's tainting of our culture. I'm not saying that I have anything against the cultures of the immigrants that come into our country. That's far from what I'm saying. In fact, the very basis of these people coming into our country, it's ruining their culture as well, because a lot of them are losing touch with their own roots from the countries that they came from. And in a way, all this cultural Marxism is leading to the erasing of everybody's culture. Eventually, or rather the vision that they have for the future, like 100 years or maybe even 1,000 years, 500 years maybe, to be a bit shorter. They say that they want everybody to look the same. Everybody's going to be, it's a mocha-colored future, as Anthony Bourdain and his little soy boy friends, were talking about during that CNN thing. It's very sad. In closing, I'll just say that the boomers, I have a lot of resentment for them, especially the ones that are very proud of how our country has turned out to be. It's pretty disgusting the way that they have a chip on their shoulder. They're actually very proud about it, Chuck Schumer, for example, who's a baby boomer, was talking about how wonderful it is when he goes for bike rides, he sees people of all different colors in Central Park. I mean, that is just, if that's the only reason why you want to bring migrants in, then you're you're definitely not thinking about America's interests first. You're thinking about your own interests first, and the globalist interests first, and the cultural Marxist interests first. So I'd go ahead and leave it at that. Just a little reminder, the video down below is from the Red Elephant's Vincent James. Once again, I highly recommend you check out his channel. He is a staunch conservative, a paleo-conservative. He's been mislabeled a white supremacist by the legacy media, which is absolutely false. You know, he is a very nice individual, and he is not a white supremacist. Not that I have anything against white supremacists. This is a country that was founded on the freedom of expression and freedom of assembly. So, whichever belief that you hold, as long as you're not hurting the animals and the children, I have no problem with. You know, as long as you're not violent, I have no problem with you. Absolutely not. Just like I don't have any problem with the black Hebrew Israelites protesting yesterday because they weren't doing anything violent, even though their rhetoric was pretty disgusting. I support their right to say it. This is a free country. We have the right to freedom of speech, even though they just did a poll where, and Vincent James talks about this in the video down below, how minorities, especially the illegal ones that are getting polled, yeah, they're getting polled, but they're not getting deported. That's a pretty scary thought in its own, but they're saying that they're completely against the First and Second Amendment. They're basically saying that they want to begin to criminalize hate speech. They're saying that hate speech is violent. Hate speech doesn't exist, by the way, you know? And there's such a double standard when it comes to so-called hate speech, you know. If it's directed towards if you say anything negative about a minority, that's considered to be hate speech. But if you say something blatantly racist towards white people, that's not considered hate speech, because the definition of anti-racism is just racism towards white people, that is. It's a very sad state of affairs that we're witnessing right now. So, but I remain hopeful. We have to remain hopeful, and we have to remain pragmatic. We can't, throw ourselves a pity party. You know, we can't, tell our sob stories about how everything's changing and we're not going to do anything about it because it's too late. You know, I'm not black-pilled. I don't do that. You know, I'm actually a very I guess white-pilled individual. White, red pill, pink pill, I guess would be the correct term. But we just have to remain hopeful, we have to remain realistic, and we have to remain pragmatic. We have to set goals for ourselves as a country. In terms of demographics, we're going to need to tighten up our immigration policy, as well as initiate mass deportations. Fake Republicans like John Kasich are going to say, well, that's immoral, you can't do that. But, the reality is yes, we can do that. That is... we have the resources at our disposal. It's not going to happen overnight, but this is something that's going to happen over, months and months. It's going to be a long process. It's going to be a necessary process in order to save the demographic makeup of this country and quite frankly, the moral status of our country. So we need to keep that in mind when we're going about this. We're not doing this out of hate. We're doing this out of love for our country. Absolutely. Because a lot of people in our country are, even if they're afraid to mention it, are getting pretty sick of what's happening right now. They're sick of the illegal immigrants coming in, killing our wives, killing our children, killing our husbands and our brothers and our sons and our fathers, and the list goes on, and murderers that are basically getting away with it because they're minorities, because there's a communication barrier like there was with the Kate Steinle killer. It's just a very pathetic excuse to gatekeep for this violence that's happening from the illegal immigrants happening to American citizens. It's very sad. All right, guys. God bless.